All right, welcome to Don Odell's Legends. This is Chris Kretchting, the Devil DJ from Boston, and we've got Nick Schnebelen with us this afternoon. We're very excited about that. Good afternoon, how are you?
Great, how are you, Chris?
Yeah, great. Welcome to Boston, welcome to Massachusetts.
Thank you so much.
You brought the warm weather with you today, which we really appreciate.
Man, thank you. It's been great.
Yeah, it's very cool. So you got a new album out?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
a lot of different types of music on this album, blues and soul and rock. Who are some of the influences that you would point to for this album, since it is so varied?
Man, there's, I worked, painstakingly on songwriting for this album, and for some of the soul stuff, I went back and listened to, and I write these songs, and they're out of just different genres. I've just been such a fan of blues and roots and soul music for so long, and rock and roll and just music in general, really.
Yes.
And so these songs come to me, and I'm not afraid to write them and perform them.
Yeah.
So I listen to, for soul music. I mean, there's so many. But I always try to find a blues side of that. Jimmy Hall is a great.
Sure.
He's a great blues. Curtis Salgado.
Yes.
So those guys I was reaching to in styles, and reaching to my contemporaries too for that. And the elder statements too.
On the rock side, who's influencing you these days?
Well, I was really this record. There's two songs, "Ultra Love" and "Little Death," and those are performed by Imperial Crowns, and Jimmy Woods wrote those. So Tony Bronigal, my producer, brought the songs to me and said, "I think we should do these. I think they'd be great."
Yeah.
So, so they influenced me on this record.
That's great.
And digging into their version of this song.
That's great.
And it was really cool to reenact some of that. Grit.
Yeah, you got to be very proud. It debuted at number 13 on the Billboard and number 7 on iTunes.
Yeah,
continues to move up here.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's been still climbing. So that's excellent. I'm really thankful for Viztone Label Group. Out of Massachusetts, actually.
Yeah, they're doing a great job for you.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob, and thanks, Richard and Amy.
So you come from a very musical family.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about the history of your family. Obviously, your sister, but your parents were also big musicians as well.
Absolutely. My brother plays drums and sings. My sister plays bass guitar and sings, and I play piano, guitar, and sing as well. And and even going forward, my daughter plays violin.
All right.
My father played guitar with my mother, and they performed together when we were kids.
Yes.
And we got to meet a lot of local Kansas City greats for blues and jazz, and through that, and then their grandparents, my father's grandparents, had a string band in Kansas City in the 20s called the Silver String Sextet. And my great-grandmother played guitar in that, and great-grandfather played mandolin in that.
It's in your blood.
And then my mother's mother was, her name was Evelyn Skinner, and she sang with Count Basie a couple times in KC back in the day. And then before that, it just goes over the pond, over to Croatia, Germany, with string players, violin. So my great-great-grandfather played violin, and now my daughter does.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I just went right to it. I don't, can't explain.
And the blues influence, where did that all come from?
My dad played a lot of rock and roll growing up, and he of course loved Hendrix and things like that, and he played a lot of rock music when I was in my, from 3 to 9 years old. But it was right around then that he went back and found those guys' influences, and found, through Love and Rock, Johnny Winter.
Sure.
Then he found the records Johnny Winter produced for Muddy Waters. So the next thing you know, I've got Muddy Waters records playing in the house constantly, and all this rock and roll, blues, and and all that. And then I fell in love with it, and then I had those tapes in my room.
Yeah, what a
and in my
great
pickup
influence.
truck when I was 16 driving to work, I was listening to Howlin' Wolf, and
Yeah.
And back then too, you had to find it.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't just pull it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
You had to go and find the tapes.
Yep.
Go
to the record store and actually go through everything.
Yeah, or go to the radio station and look through what they got, and
Yeah.
just listen, and keep it there and just listen to it.
Yeah, you must have been one of the only kids listening to the blues at the time, but it paid off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we just had a big loss, obviously here in the blues world with Mike Ledbetter, and I know you and particularly your sister were really tight with him.
Absolutely,
Tell us
him and
a little
Mike.
bit about your relationship with Mike.
I'd known Mike for probably about, I would say, 10 years, because he was playing with Nick Moss, of course, and you know, back then, you know, he was just such a new force. I knew what was gonna, you know, that he was gonna take off like he did, you know, and he took his time and did it right. And he's just was such a fabulous guy, and we pal around a lot, and you know, and I knew Mike differently because I knew him from a lot of the blues festivals as well, but they weren't even together yet. Sure. So I knew them separately, and then to watch them come together, you know, really, and watch them bond and make such great music together. I was just so, you know, enamored by that.
Yeah, it was very tragic, but it obviously he had just really started to hit it big.
He really did, because you know, seeing him grow and, like, you know, seeing his career for getting a chance to know him for so long, get to see, you know, he had this slow build, and it was, you know, it was smoldering, you know, and he was going up, you know, and then he got there with Mike, you know, and then for him to, when I got the message, I was just like, what? Yeah. No way, man.
On to a better thing that just happened to you. You got to play Buddy Guy's Legends.
Yes.
And I understand he came up on stage and played with you all.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That was really awesome. You know, we came up and he said, you know, his right-hand man, Johnny, came up and said, hey, you know, Buddy wants to play with you guys.
Really?
You know, he wants to play, you know, so set him up with the song, you know. So I set it up with the band, you know, I tell them what to do. We go right into it, you know, slow blues, you know, and I'm just kind of playing, you know, and I'm starting to kind of solo, just kind of waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And then I feel two hands on my shoulders, and I'm kind of standing in the path where he would walk to get on the stage, and he just kept his hands on my shoulders for about a minute while I was soloing.
Wow.
And I could feel his energy. It was really cool, you know. And he just kind of kept it there. It was, and I just knew exactly who it was.
Yep.
You know, and then he just kind of pushes me over just a little bit, and he comes around me and he's a mic and takes over for about 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Oh, wow. I swear, I would have felt like an eternity to me. But
yeah.
It was the you know, the back end of our set. It was like,
perfect.
It was awesome.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Had you played with him before?
I've done festivals that he was at, but it never.
But not like that. So
not like that.
No. Yeah. How cool.
And you know, I've never met him in person. That's how I met him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you know,
exciting.
and even after our jam, because we still had another set to do, he left and went home.
Yep.
You know, so that's
Very
my Buddy
nice.
Guy experience.
That's a really cool experience.
But he was giving us lots of props on stage, and we were laying it down right for him.
Yeah, great. Well, you've got a really good history yourself, trampled underfoot, obviously, and going to Philadelphia, starting the band there, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my question then is, that was a pretty successful band. You guys won a bunch of awards, and things were going really well. What made you go solo?
I think the biggest part was that Danielle and I just think we've got a lot of music to give, and I think we have, you know, we want to see it through on our own, you know, separately, you know, so we can, you know, bring more, you know, we can be more places at once.
No, it makes sense, and
but you do it for 12 years. It's a long time.
Enough.
You know, it's a long time.
Yeah, great. Well, congratulations on a crazy All By Myself debut, number 13, number 7 on iTunes.
I love it.
Yeah, very, very cool. We'll make it number 1 here.
Let's make it number 1.
Make it number
guys,
1.
go out there and get it. We need all the help we can get.
Fantastic.
We love it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
All right,
Thank you.
You bet. This is Don Odell's Legends, and we'll see you on the next artist that rolls through town. Thank you.